Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the One Game at a Time podcast. I'm Seb O'Neill, joined as always by my three hosts. We'll go through them one at a time, starting with the man who's fresh off media duties, was just on Johnny's show, now he's on ours, David Grant.
Good evening.
Do you want to explain the attire at all, or...?
Oh, look, this is going out live right now, but there's a big Aussie Rules game on just now. The Adelaide Crows are playing Port Adelaide in an AFL match, and I know at least two of you guys here are super fans, so this is in honour of you guys. Look at my tan lines. I'm just looking at my tan lines. I've got my brown Aussie arms from the sort of upper part of the elbow down, so that's why I'm wearing this. Go the Crows, because I know you're fans.
Also joined by...
Is that
also joined by Mark Talbot. Mark, how are you going on what has already became a strange evening?
Good evening, gentlemen. Nice top, David. I'm not sure what to say. But yes, I have a great love for the AFL. So yes, I think I didn't know that it was on until this morning, so I'm off to a flying start.
Absolutely, and finally joined for this week as well by Connie Kawimsis. Connie, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Good to see there's some Crows lovers out there. So I'm happy.
Look at that, quickly as that he's changed.
We're here to talk about football, right? Real.
Exactly, that's what we're here to talk about. Starting off as we do as always with our picks of the week. I'll go first. Starting with, well, probably one of the biggest stories in the week. Nestor Irankunda played his last game in Australia for Adelaide United. A kid who we've seen grow up here in South Australia, playing football in the NPL throughout NTC level. I'm sure, especially like people like even Antonis has watched him grow up through that system, come through at Raiders, then play for the NTC side. And is a kid that's only, I think, he's 11 days older than me, and he's on his way to Bayern Munich. We'll go to Con on this one as another Adelaide United supporter. It's impressive.
Sorry, I reckon I dropped out then. Did you say you're going to go to me?
Yes.
Sorry, got a great start. Yeah, look, he's done wonders for football here in South Australia. Such a young player, still got a lot to learn and a lot of nurturing to be done by whoever coaches him in the future. But he's definitely got the potential to be a superstar. He's just got to keep his head and listen to what those teaching him at a higher level. You know, they've been there for a long time. So as long as he listens, he'll do well.
David, going to a club like Bayern Munich certainly isn't anything to sniff about. Definitely such a big club. Only probably the best youngsters would go to a club like that, including our very own.
Yeah, I agree with you. I suppose the worry is, or the concern is, that he doesn't get to play much football there. I'm not sure about the Bundesliga, how it loans players out, or what it does with players if there's a reserve league, even I assume there is. So I guess the concern is that he doesn't get to play much football. But having said that, he'll be learning from the best in Europe, because he'll be coached by the best in Europe, because Bayern Munich would have a decent coaching setup, I would say. So mixed. I guess there's mixed views about it. I don't mean to be negative about it, but you've got to be realistic as well. So I just hope it works out well for him. Certainly, Bayern's out. If you're going to start somewhere in Europe, then Bayern Munich is certainly one that is highly desirable, isn't it? Better Bayern Munich than Grimsby Town, for example.
Absolutely, yeah. I just checked as well. They have their reserve team currently play in the Regional Liga, which is the 4th division of German football, but they could also be promoted to the 3rd division of German football, which has the likes. I think Borussia Dortmund's second team is also actually in the 3rd division as well. So those second teams do actually tend to play at quite a high level in Germany.
Oh yeah, sorry, Mark.
No, go for it.
Oh yeah, I mean that I hadn't realised that if you're playing in the 3rd or 4th tier nationally and playing for the B team essentially, then that's not bad. I mean, a lot of European competitions do have their B teams or their reserve sides playing in lower tiers, but generally they're not in the top 1, 2, 3, or 4 divisions. They're generally down in the 5th or the 6th. And Scotland, Rangers and Celtic's reserves play in the Lowland League, which is the 5th tier.
Yeah, I know in Spain, Barcelona and like Real Madrid to play as high as, I think maybe second division in Spain, but the Bundesliga with that the third division. I think it's Schalke, who's actually Champions League team of the past, are actually possibly getting dropped into or relegated into the third division in Germany. So they could be coming up. That B team could come up against the likes of Schalke, who, like I said, have played semi-finals of the Champions League. So they're not in a good stage at the moment, but what a way to come up against, or a team to come up against in the third division of Germany, really. But just on that, I think I saw his interview the other day after the game. That would have been yesterday. About and he really talked about his need to learn and how he did start off as very much an individual player, and he was talking about how he's really over the last 3 years really grown as a team player. And I've always been I've always been hesitant about him whether he's going to make superstardom and things like that, just purely because I think he's always been one that's more of an individual player. But him saying that, for me, if he can put that into action, I think he could go a lot further than what I thought he would. But it just shows his maturity level already, that he's realised that, and he's listening to those coaches here in Adelaide, and he's finding that if he does listen, he could go a long way.
Absolutely. Mark, we'll stay with you onto your pick.
Yeah, Ben Dale, who a lot of people around the league will know, he's up to coaching his 300th senior game across state leagues, MPL, and the women's league. So this weekend is his 300th management. So congratulations to a ever young Ben Dale on reaching that milestone. It's a pretty impressive milestone to reach as a manager or coach. So congrats, and hopefully his side can get him the result on his 300th.
Yeah, certainly hoping that has Fulham this weekend, so looking to get 3 points there. I actually saw him the other day. He's a lovely guy. He's always happy to see me. Yeah, can't say much else about him. He's a great guy, great coach. Yeah, and I hope he does well.
Yeah, he's a friend of everyone, so I don't think there's many people that have a bad word to say about him. So I'll say all of them. No, I'm only kidding. No, great guy. Great guy, and like I said, yeah, look, to be able to do that as a coach is impressive. I mean, that's not an easy to reach 300. That's a lot of years coaching, a lot of time away from the family. He's got a young family and a lot of time away from them. So hats off to his lovely wife Stacey and all the nights that he's not there, she's had to put up with. So yeah, shout out to the family, and I hope the team can do him proud this weekend.
Absolutely. David, we'll go on to you for your pick. You've been doing a bit of reading.
Yeah, all by myself as well, unaided. So I'm quite proud of that.
Not an audiobook?
No, all by myself. It's got pictures in it, mind you, so I haven't had to read every single page. I've been invited to review a book which has just come out fairly recently. It's about George Best's time in Australia. It's called George Best Down Under, which is a fairly apt title, I suppose. It's written by a guy named Lucas Gillard, who's written a number of books on soccer in Australia, with a focus on the history of soccer in Australia. And this is his latest one, so I was forwarded a copy by the publisher to have a read before I have a chat with the author and review the book. But I'm sure everyone's familiar with George Best.
Oh yes, yeah. I used to watch a great video actually, David, of it was the best of Law, Best and Charlton, and I'm an Arsenal supporter, so growing up we didn't have a lot of video and things like that, but that was one of them. We did have I know the United guys, but the three of them, what players they were. So it was the best of, and it was just their highlight reel. It was brilliant. So absolutely great.
I may be young, but I'm not uncultured, David.
Okay, I apologise dismissing you so easily. So the books I have to say is very good, informative. I mean, a lot of the early stuff revolves around, or the early chapters revolves around Best's background, which, as you know, was as much under the public glare as his ability on the park, which was a bit unfortunate. He came to Australia on several occasions. In 1967, he came here with a Manchester United team that was touring ahead of the 67-68 season. That was the season that Manchester United first won the European Cup. Not the first British team to do that. Celtic had won it the year before. But that season they came out here and they played in Adelaide on that tour. They played at Kensington Oval, believe it or not, which was Adelaide City's former home ground up until, well, Mark might know, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Now you test. No, it'd be longer than that.
Well, I actually played against Adelaide City at Kensington Oval, and that was in 1995. So it was certainly after that at some stage. Yeah. But just to get back to the book, so they Manchester United came out here, played a tour in 1967. So he played in Adelaide then. He then signed in 1983 for the Brisbane Lions, who were an NSL team at the time. They're still on the go, but they play in the Queensland NPL competition. And he played against Adelaide City then, but that was up at Perry Park in Brisbane. So he didn't come to Adelaide then, but he did come to Adelaide to play an exhibition match for West Adelaide, which was against Adelaide City. That was at Hindmarsh on June the 20th, 1983. And he actually scored in that game, which I believe I haven't finished the book yet, but I believe that was the only game. That was the only goal he scored in Adelaide. So he played twice here, but it's been a good read. I've yet to finish it, and then once I finished it, I have to write a little review on it for Front Page Football and have a chat with the author before that. But that's my pick of the week.
Absolutely. Thank you, David, for that. Connie, on to you for your pick. You want to talk about your beloved State League 2, but not about your Northern Demons. He's muted.
Wait.
He's muted.
I thought that was you that put the mute button on.
No.
All I could hear was people calling me a mute. Yeah, look. No, it's not about the Demons this time, and it's not about Mount Barker. So I'm turning the attention to the only team that is left in South Australia having been undefeated and not drawn a game, which is Adelaide University. 8 games played, 8 games won. They've scored 20 goals. They've had 9 players score all up so far this season. 5 players with 1 goal, and they've got Hugo Remington, who I think he's scored in his last 3 or 4 games now for them. So he's got 7 for the season. Michael Siccardo has also got 5, and Andrew Orphan, who's got 2. So well on their way to promotion are Adelaide University with a 6-point gap nearly at the halfway mark of the season. So travelling very well.
Would you say they're a team that perhaps looks to be promoted straight away, or perhaps they might fall off?
Going on their results, they're winning games, well, not easily, but they're getting the job done every week. So they've only conceded 2 goals in 8 games. So that's a good sign for any coach in his defence. And obviously Phil Stubbins is the coach, so very well coached team. They're averaging 3 goals a game. So yeah, you would think, in 2 rounds' time, we're at the halfway mark. If they haven't lost the game by then, you're almost going to have to pencil them into the automatic promotion in that 1-2 spot. So going good guns down there.
Absolutely. Very excited to see how the rest of the season will play out. Right, on to the results for the past week, starting with, funnily enough, State League 2. Eastern United having a 2-2 draw with Modbury Vista. Gawler Eagles losing 2-0 at home to Noarlunga United. Adelaide Hills losing 2-0 to Seaford Rangers. Adelaide Uni with a 2-1 win over Pontian Eagles. Port Adelaide with a 3-1 win over Cove FC. And Northern Demons a 5-1 win over Mount Barker United up in Port Pirie. Mark, we'll start with you on this. What caught your eye?
Okay. I'd have to say probably continuing on from Connie's talks, Adelaide Uni, who went and beat Pontian Eagles 2-1. Close game, but again, they're getting the job done. And Pontian's sitting third, so that's not like they were an easy side. And as we've discussed on the show before, Pontians at home are a different kettle of fish altogether. They're very good at home. They've done really well at home on that pitch. So I think that's a massive result for Uni. It really does put down that marker going, hey, we're here to not only win the league, but we're here to take it away. And that's what they're doing at the moment. And I think I'll let the guys talk about some other ones, but I think the other one for me would be the Cove result. I think they seem to have fallen off the wagon maybe a little bit. Port Adelaide had a massive week. They beat Demons midweek in that catch-up game. They've then gone and beat Cove 3-1 at home. My man Kaka scoring goals. I think he's hit 3 or 4 in the last 4 games. I think it is. So he's scoring goals for fun at the moment, really doing the job for Port Adelaide. So I think those sorts of results are really great for one of my old clubs. But that's really pushed Port now up to 5th, I think it is, after that result. So they're firing, and Cove seem to have sort of faltered the last couple of weeks. 2 losses in a row there. So I think Cove are starting to maybe coming unstuck a little bit. Don't know after their great start, but Uni obviously doing really well. And like I said, Port with 2 wins on the trot now, sort of probably behind Adelaide Uni, the form team at the moment. I'll let the boys talk about some of the other results if they've got anything.
I'll just quickly mention that I was a bit surprised at the Hawks. They won 2 weeks ago. I can't remember who they were playing, but they won 2 weeks ago, and I thought they might have taken that form into the Seaford game. They obviously didn't. So I guess it'll be interesting to see. They play Cove next, and the Cove are not full of, but there's a number of ex-Hawks players in that Cove side. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes, because as you mentioned, Mark, Cove they're coming off the back of 2 losses. And so this is an interesting time for a side that's second in the table, 2 losses in a row, faltering a little bit, and they're playing a side that had a win 2 weeks ago and are a bit further down the table. And I'm just sort of wondering what will happen there. So I just thought I would just mention the Hawks because I thought they might have done the business against Seaford.
Yeah, I can feel in a bit on that as well, actually, David. I caught up with a few of the Seaford boys in particular, or one in particular the other day, and he was saying how Adelaide Hills weren't at their best on that game or in that game, but Seaford's new structure, they've made some tweaks. They're getting stronger and better than what they were under Calderbank. So the things that Calderbank's starting to or has been implementing over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks since he's been in the role are now starting to show in games. So he was saying that you could put that win. Some of that was certainly down to their new structure and what Calderbank's been implementing is now starting to show. So it'll be interesting to see how Seaford move forward after a good result here, if they continue that, if they can get on a run now and continue implementing what Calderbank's been drumming into them at training.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously I can touch on the Demons game because I was there on the Sunday to watch Alessio's Mount Barker succumb to a 5-1 defeat up there. Conditions were very good. It was not, it wasn't hot, wasn't cold, wasn't raining. So if I'm being honest, probably could have been a lot more than 5. Mount Barker had a couple of half chances and then scored just after half time. But the goal that they did score seemed to just trigger Demons to go on an absolute rampage and score 3 goals after that. So that was the game that I got to see on the weekend. The other thing, touching on what David said as well, was Adelaide Hills, their form, when they sort of look like they're going to go half decent, they go, they went and beat Pirates a few weeks ago, and then they've, lost. And what did they do last week? Yeah, lost to Seaford. So, yeah, it's funny because you've got Uni at the top who are just so consistent, scoring goals, not conceding goals, but then you've got from Cove and Pontians are around the mark, Modbury and Demons, and then below that it's just so much inconsistency from 7th down to 12th. So not too sure what to make of it all in the State League 2 with the inconsistency. So have to wait another few rounds to see how that plays out.
And if you like, I'll touch on the last game we haven't spoken about. It's the Gawler Eagles and Noarlunga game. So Noarlunga coming out with a 2-1 result at Gawler's ground, which I thought was interesting because Gawler have been okay at home. They've got some good results at home. So and Noarlunga, I'll say it again, I really didn't expect anything from them this year. They've really surprised me. They've really done well, and they're continually picking up these results. Like I said, they've beaten Gawler. So they're actually pulling away from the bottom of the table. They're on 10 points, sitting in 7th. So it's quite tight in the fact that Mount Barker are on 4, bit of a gap. Hills, Gawler, Eastern, Seaford, all within 2 points. Noarlunga sitting in 7th on 10 points. So that group is quite close. There's only a game and just over a game between 7th and 11th. So it is showing that it's a really inconsistent league in the fact that most teams can beat anyone on their day. So, look at Port, 2 wins and they've jumped up to 6th. They were 5th before the Demons smashing of Alessio's Mount Barker. And to be honest, I'll say it, clearly Mount Barker weren't good enough this weekend. I know they were missing 3 senior players. They were missing their captain and their 2 vice captains. So I know Anthony Taylor, he's a very good leader for them. They were missing James Clappers in goal, who's a big loss for any team. So they were missing a few players, but they should still have enough to be able to keep that scoreline closer. Obviously, Demons, when they went 2-1 up and that goal went in, they just went, no, this is no fun anymore. Let's actually start playing, and they decided to turn it on. That league is just it can be such an inconsistent league, and anyone can beat anyone on their day. So, again, this week will be almost impossible for us to actually predict like it was last week.
Absolutely. Before we move on to State League 1, I think we have to ask Con, do we get an Alessio Carocci review for his performance on the weekend?
If I'm totally honest, I was looking after my son. I had my son with me, and Deb, you wouldn't know what it's like to look after a 3-year-old, but I'm sure the other 2 would. So there wasn't much.
Is this a very diplomatic way of saying that Alessio didn't have a great 90 minutes or 60 minutes or however long he played?
I think he got subbed off. Yeah, look, it was hard to watch because, to be honest, they didn't really have the ball a whole lot. They were doing a lot of chasing. I do remember their goalkeeper having to go at their striker because he wasn't working hard enough for releasing the ball. So that was a bit of funny business that happened. So, but yeah.
Very, very interesting. On to State League 1. More results coming your way. West Torrens Burkalla, a 2-0 win over Sturt Lions. Salisbury United coming out 3-2 winners over Adelaide Blue Eagles. Western Strikers 2-2 draw with Cumberland United. West Adelaide a 5-1 loss at home to Playford City. Vipers coming out 2-1 winners against Fulham United, and Adelaide Cobras a 4-2 victory over Adelaide. Victory. David, a lot of crazy, unpredictable results have happened.
Absolutely. The Adelaide Blue Eagles game was obviously one of the big shocks. And as I understand it, I wasn't at the game. I was at a different game at that time, so I didn't see it. But as I understand it, Adelaide Blue Eagles were chasing it for most of the tie. Half time, Salisbury Inter were 2-1 up, and by all accounts were in command of the tie. So that obviously was a bit of a shock. I'm just trying to bring up the table just now because I can't remember if that's affected the table. Did Salisbury Inter have enough of a gap that they were
Salisbury United?
Sorry, Adelaide Blue Eagles. Did they have enough? They've got enough of a gap that they're still top, but they're now on the same number of points as Playford, who had a narrow 5-1 win themselves. Be interesting to see how Adelaide Blue Eagles bounce back from that. They've got Western Strikers next. Playford have got Burkalla. So it makes it a bit tighter at the top, and a significant stumble, I think, by Blue Eagles. It sort of brought them back in to within touching distance of the chasing pack. So I guess I don't want to talk about the others because there was obviously other games there that were similarly unexpected, but I'll let one of the others talk about that because they're the cherry. I'm cherry picking otherwise, aren't I?
David, there's nothing wrong with that, mate. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'll pick up the Strikers Cumberland game. Cumberland were, I believe, 2-1 up. And I know that the coach won't be happy with this. They conceded in the 88th minute for their equaliser. So, yes, I know that they won't be happy about that. But great result for Western Strikers. It gets them an extra point. Like I said, we all thought that they'd really struggle and be down near the bottom. But they're doing well. They're picking up results. They're getting the points here and there. And actually, they're doing a really good job. So things are working down there for them, which is great to see. I saw the write-up on the Salisbury game, David. And it was, Salisbury were in control for most of the game, and a late goal for Blue Eagles made it 3-2. But yeah, from all accounts, Salisbury were well and truly in front and almost got it right. I did pick a Munchie goal, Matthew Machiora goal. Unfortunately, he didn't get one, but the third goal did come from his header from a corner. So the ball came over, he headed it back across, and the goal was then scored. So got close with it, didn't quite get didn't quite get him on the goal, but he got the assist. And I did also, just while I have it, I did pick Kaká to score again for Port last weekend, and he scored again. So tell you what, I need to get points for these in our tips. Unless if you're listening, dude, sort that out when we get the right scorer. And look, I think for me the other one, it wasn't. I didn't think it was a shock. I picked Cobras to win, but they're now starting to find some form. And I knew they would find their form at some stage. They've now gone 3 games on the bounce. 3 games winning. It's pushed them right up the table. So yeah, I think Cobras are now starting to find their feet, starting to find their rhythm. And I think anyone that comes up against Cobras now, at the start of the season, it was a different story. Now it's going to be a really, really tough game. And to be honest, going into this week, I haven't looked at who they're playing yet, but they've got to be favourites in their current form. Like I said, they've got the form of the league, 3 games on the trot. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Connie, on to you.
Yeah, again, seems like it's all I'm going to talk about, but it's just the inconsistency. And this is actually probably more inconsistent in State League 1 is you've got, 18, 16, 14, 12 in points from the top to 5th. And by the looks of it, every team is beatable on their day. 4 or 5 rounds ago, you probably would have thought Blue Eagles are going to go, at a similar rate as what Uni is in State League 2 and probably not lose a game, but they've lost 2 games now. They've got Strikers this weekend, which is a huge game because Strikers are starting to find a bit of form, even though they're sitting in 8th position. So it's just one of those things. You think maybe from 9th down, they're a bit of a no-show at the moment. West Adelaide's had a massive form slump. They haven't won for now, 4 weeks since their last win. They've lost all 4. So, yeah, it's getting interesting in State League 2, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and looking at the table, as we can see, Adelaide Blue Eagles at the top, only equal on points with Playford. Their next clash will be an enticing one. West Torrens Berkalla just closely following behind. And towards the bottom even, it's very, very close. Only 3 points separating 6th and 12th between those sides. So a very, very interesting battle going into the rest of the State League 1 season. We had some Women's Cup action during the week. Always great, the Cup. Starting with Salisbury Inter at Service FM Stadium. Had a 2-0 win over Flinders United. Adelaide Jaguars losing 6-0 to West Adelaide. Elizabeth Grove 3-0 loses to Metro United. Adelaide Comets barnstorming win over Western Strikers 11-0. Adelaide City winning 1-0 at Campbelltown at Adelaide City Park only after extra time. That one's definitely one to talk about. Sturt Lions getting a 3-2 win after extra time as well against West Torrens Berkalla, and Adelaide Uni a 6-0 win over Modbury Jets. David, we'll start with you again. Adelaide City nearly being pushed all the way by Campbelltown.
Yeah, Valeria Guayardo is the name that I've learnt to say correctly this week. She scored in the 114th minute to win the game for Adelaide City, but well done, Campbelltown City, to take it that far. That's an outstanding performance, isn't it? I didn't see the game. I didn't go to the game, so but it certainly was a standout. The other game that sort of struck me was the Jaguars West Adelaide game. West Adelaide had 6 different goal scorers that day, and I've written them all down. Rachel Quigley, Kendall Calabar, Yasmina Enadam, Georgia Macri, Lily DeCola, and Nicole Blackett. 5 of those goals came in the last 20 minutes of that game, so a 6-0 win for West Adelaide. And Burculla and Sturt finished 3-2 in extra time. Karimi Saito scored the win in the 93rd minute. So that wasn't an injury time. That was the 3rd minute of additional time. But that's a big win for Sturt as well, because they're a side that have struggled in the league. I think they've had 1 win by default, thanks to an error in the paperwork at Comets in round 1 or 2. So that was a massive upset as well. I think Sturt would have gone into that match. Well, they would have gone in aiming to have a win, but they probably didn't expect it over a strong Burculla side. And the only other, sorry to dominate here, but the other thing to note is Emily Hazelwood scored 4 of the 11 goals Adelaide Comets score, so she's hit a bit of form as well.
Absolutely.
Hello, is anyone still there?
Yes. Mark, on to you for a bit more about this. All WMPL sides going into the next round, but Campbelltown, as we said, probably the closest one into making it through. And yeah. Interesting.
I know I picked Campbelltown. I just saw in their current form, they're doing so well in the WSL, so I thought that they might get over, and they almost did over Adelaide City. So they can certainly hold their heads high and take. They've obviously took their league form into that. Yes, they lost, but they've obviously. I mean, Adelaide City they're no mugs. They're a good side, so they've pushed them all the way, which is what you can hope for. I think a couple of surprising results for me. I think Adelaide Uni over Modbury Jets 6-0. I wasn't expecting it that much of a blowout. I was expecting that to be a lot closer, to be fair. So that's great news for Adelaide Uni. Hopefully they can now turn their season around with Jason at the helm. He can use this as their springboard and propel their league form up the table. And I think Salisbury Inter 2-0 over Flinders. That was obviously that's a huge result. Salisbury Inter really struggled obviously at the start of the league and into the cup. They've carried their recent league form into that. Flinders have been on fire effectively. Like they've been just not giving up and getting results week in, week out. So that's a huge win, I think, for Salisbury Inter, especially going back into the league this week. And their form really now is I think almost the form side. I think that's 3 wins, including that in the league now on the trot. So they've really started to hit their rhythm and find their form now. And all I can say is I think watch out the rest of the league, because Salisbury Inter are really doing well at the moment.
Absolutely. Last year's grand final winners, hoping to repeat that this coming season. Final one for our results for this week. Men's MPL South Australia, 2-2 draw between FK Beograd and Campbelltown on that Anzac Day clash. South Adelaide also with a 2-2 draw. All those goals scored within, I think, 30 or 35 minutes. Adelaide City 3-2 losers against Adelaide United Youth, with Amalani Tatu making a name for himself. Adelaide Croatia Raiders a 2-2 draw with Para Hills Knights. Me and you were there for that one, David. Adelaide Comets a 1-0 draw against Modbury Jets, and Adelaide Olympic with a 4-3 win over Metro Stars. I don't know which game and who wants to talk about which game first, because there's quite a few there which are quite interesting.
Surely, Connie, you can go first on this one. You haven't been first yet.
I'll go first because I did the first game. It was a late call up to that one with Johnny on the Thursday night of Anzac Day. And what a game that ended up being. First half was, half chances, a little bit scrappy, but both teams come out with a bit of intent in the second half. And, it ended up 2-2, which was great. We saw a wonder strike from pro Neon Kuru. And then we saw Jared Clark equalise right in the 96th minute. Mark Marino got a goal, as we can see here, from an assist by All Right on his 400th game, which is just incredible to play that many games. For me, the standout in that game was actually the 200 gamer in Trimbola. He was excellent. Just run amok most of the game and set up the last goal. But the surprise for me in the NPL last week, no doubt, was Olympic beating Metro 4-3. I did not see that coming. I probably should apologise because I actually tipped Metro to win 4-0 last week, and they were on the other end of the 4 goals. So, very interesting round of NPL.
Absolutely. Who wants to go next?
Gonna go, David.
I was just going to say that I had a go operating the camera at the Campbelltown City game, FK Beograd game, and God, I was awful at it. I think maybe it's something I could become good at, but I'd just like to apologise to anyone who was watching that game for. Jared Clark scored the equaliser, the 96-minute equaliser, right in front of me, and I was stumbling all over the place trying to capture the magic of the moment. You've probably seen in the background. In fact, the shots of the crowd is about all I did, so it was a good experience, but I don't think it's me. So I apologise to all viewers for that. Where do you go, Mark?
Look, I could talk about all the games, to be honest. I obviously tuned into the Anzac Day clash, which I thought was brilliantly done, first and foremost. FK Beograd have certainly made a name for themselves in hosting the Anzac Day clash. I think that they've done it brilliantly 2 years in a row. Very respectful, very well done. And I think adding the full production that the boys did, I thought that was just a really good occasion, really good effort, and I thought it was excellent. So shout out to all those that were involved there. Obviously yourself, Connie, David, Johnny Kecko did a lot of work behind the scenes to get that over the line. So, but the game was excellent. Jared Clark with a almost last minute or extra time equaliser, which was brilliant. But I was going to talk about the other one. Obviously, was the bit of a surprise. Well, not a bit of a surprise. Was probably the shock of the round. Was the Metro Olympic game. I actually tuned in and watched this one. And Olympic were fantastic. They nullified everything Metro. That was also an own goal. It got given to Kamara, but actually was an own goal. I slowed that down and watched that multiple times. But Olympic were great. Were good for their win. I thought they conceded here and then went down the other end and scored. Literally, I think not even 90 seconds later, they went and scored. And Olympic were excellent. They, like I said last week, they had to stop making those little individual errors that were costing goals. So they did that really well. Yes, I know Metro scored 3 goals, but I felt one of them was probably, I didn't think the penalty should have been a penalty. And that made it 4-2, and then they obviously went and scored after that. But I thought, Olympic were excellent, deserved the result. Metro did go down to 10 men. This is it here. I'm not sure. Yeah, Regis didn't see this. The linesman definitely called that one because at the time Regis played it on. And then the linesman did flag him and say that was a handball. So I think that was D'Angelo that was on the line there. What else was there? So that, like I said, Olympic were great for their win. Metro will look to bounce back this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Adelaide City again on the end of another loss against Adelaide United. And as you said, Seb, the young, what was his name, Seb?
Amlani Tattoo.
Tattoo. I got told at the start of the year to watch out for this fella, and I watched him in that game against Campbelltown at Cooper Stadium, and I was really impressed. I was like, wow, this kid's got something about him, and he was excellent that day. Everything that Adelaide United did good was through him, and he's now 8 games into the season, and he's still producing moments like this. You've just got to go, there is something about this kid. He's only 15. So, he could go a long way the way he plays. I mean, this finish here was nice. It did take a little deflection, which obviously killed the goalkeeper there. But Adelaide City need to be very careful now. They've dropped down to 10th. I think it is 9th or 10th in the league. They're just struggling defensively. They're struggling to score goals. So I am really concerned with Adelaide City at the moment, but there's still 12 games to go. It's only round 8, so it's what do we got? 22 games. So they've still got 14 games, but they've got to be careful now that they're not in good form as we see there on the table. They've actually gone down to 11th with 5 losses on a trot at the moment, and they're up against Croydon this week. Croydon? They're no mugs either. Yes, they're sitting ninth. They picked up a couple of draws, so they came off a good result against South Adelaide after going, I think, 2-0 down to South Adelaide at South Adelaide. To come back and draw 2-2 is a good result down south on a Friday night. So that's going to be another tough game for Adelaide City. So yeah, it's looking worrying for Adelaide City at this present moment as we look here with South Adelaide here. Like I said, South Adelaide went 2-0 up quite quickly. Conway got both their goals, so great news for Conway. I'm not sure if he's only got one, or I think they may only have one goal so far this year, so maybe 2. So that's great for young Conway to get 2 goals there. But yeah, and I think the only thing I want to touch on, I'll let someone else talk about the Modbury game. The only thing I want to touch on the Modbury game was Dion Kirk's finish. Was just an outstanding finish, and it was in the goals of the week. But yeah, that was just a fantastic finish. The touch and the volley was just outstanding. So, but I'll let some of you boys talk about that one.
David, I think we'll go on to you to talk about a few of the others.
What's left? Modbury and I think Mark's covered it. I think we're all good, aren't we?
No, you've missed some. You've missed some.
Yeah, I didn't talk about Parra Hills either.
Oh, Parra Hills.
Yeah, well, you know the game that we were at?
Aye, I was at that one. Yeah, I was at that one and I was sober. No. What can we say about these games all seem like weeks ago. Parra Hills Knights and Raiders. That was the double from Omid Musawi, wasn't it? Musawi.
Yes.
The Afghan international. Yeah, look, I think the statistics, I think at half time, maybe even at full time as well, I'd sort of suggested that Croatia Raiders were the better side, but I think from memory the statistics kind of contradicted that. It's just that Parra Hills Knights took their chances. Or have I got that the wrong way, Seb? And did that come off his back? Remember the Paul Radici goal? At the time I wasn't convinced
talk
he
about
headed that. Yeah.
I think at the time we spoke about it, whether or not it was actually could have been a handball. We did have that conversation when we looked back at it.
We did, yeah. I think it came off his back. I don't think he's headed it or handballed it, but hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think Parra Hills Knights just took their chances. I think Croatia Raiders created well, but just didn't have it in that final third. They created more, but just didn't take their chances, and Parra Hills Knights did. I think from memory, the Parra Hills Knights not only have about 2 shots on goal, but scored both or something like that.
That was
a lovely finish. I have got them the wrong way around then. That was a lovely finish by Matteo as well, wasn't it? Opened up his body lovely and put it to the far post. Really nice finish. And then was this the Musawi's second goal? Yeah, 5 minutes from time to get 2 points. Yeah, seems a long time ago. I can't even remember it.
That's all the results from the past week. Just having a look at the table before we move on to this week's fixtures. Modbury Jets sitting on top of the table with 17 points, with Metro, Comets and Croatia just sitting behind them on 16. Then going towards the bottom, South Adelaide in 12th, Adelaide City in 11th, and Adelaide Olympic just out of that relegation zone. I guess looking at the table, I mean, I think we say this every week. This year's unpredictable. Not even in just this league, across all the leagues, I think. Yeah,
it certainly is unpredictable. I mean, who would have put Adelaide City in the 11th spot at this stage of the season? I don't think anyone would have. But yeah, it is unpredictable. But look also how tight it is at the bottom of the table when you've got South Adelaide, I think, on 5 points, and then it's 5, 6, 7, 8. So the bottom 4 is only 1 game. So South's get a good result. Some results go their way, they could jump as high as 9th. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so close. So yeah, it is such a close league, and normally it groups itself. Sort of some of the top teams will will pull away, and there'll be a group at the top and a group in the middle, and a group at the bottom, and it's already started to do that. So, but you don't want to be caught in the wrong group. If you get caught in that wrong group, you could be facing relegation, which is where Adelaide City currently are, South, even Croydon to an extent. So they've got some work ahead of them, all those teams. But as we've seen, anything can happen in this league, all 5 leagues across, obviously the women's as well.
Very, very interesting to see how, as we near the halfway point of the season, how the rest of the season will turn out. On to this week's fixtures, as we always do, except for 1 week, which I might have stuffed up. We'll go through each game one at a time and give our predictions, starting with State League 2, Adelaide University versus Port Adelaide. I will go for Adelaide University to keep their winning run.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Seb. I would pick Adelaide University in that one as well. I think they're just a cut above the rest just now, and I don't think Port Adelaide are the team that will be the ones that take the points off them.
Connie, you want to have a go, mate?
I've tipped Uni 2-1 to win, but with the form that Pirates have been in the last 7 to 10 days, they may well be the first team to beat them, because I think, I watched the game the other day, Pirates versus Demons, and Pirates had 2 or 3 chances, scored 2 goals, win the game 2-1. So if they can defend well, then Ballet can definitely score goals. So could be an upset, but Uni 2-1.
Yeah, for me, this one's a tough one. I look at the form and go, Port at the moment are probably the only team that could cause Uni some grief based on form. But I still think Uni probably going to just have too much for Port. I'm going to go with a Uni win, and I actually, just like Connie, a 2-1. I think Kakao will score. I just don't think they'll have enough in defence to keep out Uni, who just seem to be scoring for fun.
Next up, Cove FC versus Adelaide Hills Hawks. I will go for the Cove at home.
I would agree with you again, Seb. I think I was kind of hoping that the Hawks might have turned things around a little bit with their win against Port a couple of weeks ago, but maybe they haven't, having lost the following week, i.e. last weekend. So I'll go for Cove in this one.
Cove, for me, both teams inconsistent lately, but I think Cove will win relatively easily 3-0.
Yeah, this is... You'd have to go on Cove on this just because it's at home. Their form hasn't been that great of late, the last couple of weeks. But I just don't think Hawks will have enough to get over Cove at home. So I'll have to go with the Cove, a Cove 3-1.
Easy done. Noarlunga United versus Pontian Eagles. I'll go with Noarlunga away from home for this one. Sorry, no, I won't. I'll go for Pontian. I don't know why. Pontian. I don't know why I said away. Yep. Who's next?
Just writing down Noarlunga right now for you, Seb. I'm going to go for the opposite to you, Seb. I'm not going to go for Noarlunga, and I'm going to go for the Pontian Eagles. And I'm just writing that one down as well. Pontian Eagles for me. Thank you.
Me too. Mark, on to you.
Okay. Pontians for me, I think will get the result. It'll be close. I think Noarlunga are actually playing some good football and getting some good results, but they did lose 2 players to red cards last week who will serve suspension. So Clayton Bradley, their captain, was one of them who did get sent off last week, and the other one was young Calderbank, which is Calderbank from Seaford, the coach, his son. So they'll be down 2 players. So I just think Pontians will have enough to get over them this week. Pontians will win.
Connie.
Pontians 2-0. I don't see Noarlunga causing them too much trouble, even if it's at home. The interesting thing, though, guys, is when we do look at that table again for this league, if Cove and Pontian do drop points and Uni win, there's a 9-point gap between first and second, which could be absolutely crazy going into round 10. So, yeah, just a little one there for you. But Pontian's 2-0 on that one.
All in agreement
also-
with Ponty in there.
Also, just mention that Jeremiah Kashindi, who's a Pontian striker, has 11 goals to his name this year. He's the top scorer in men's competition across all 3 divisions. Wow, Dave, thanks. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well
no
done.
worries.
Yeah, thank
I love
you,
that,
David.
though. I love them. They're great.
Do you want us to clap next
I mean,
time?
I mean that, right? Not like Seb there who just he's like, yeah, whatever, David.
No, I clapped.
But no, I enjoy those stats. They're good to know.
On to Modbury Vista versus Northern Demons at at Modbury Vista. I'll go for the Demons on this one.
Connie, do we even need to hear your one on this? Because I'm going to hazard the guess you're going to go for Demons.
I'm going to go for a draw.
Oh, you're killing me.
What?
Betrayal.
Reason why,
I
I'll
reckon.
tell you. Oh, look, I'm not that one-eyed, all right?
You're not like
But-
Alessio.
Unlike someone else.
I just don't know what team Demons are going to put on the park. I know they rested not rested, but a couple of players were on the bench last week, and a couple of players played. They've got a couple of injury concerns from the game against Pirates. I think they got a couple of injuries in that game, so they're down a few players. And Modbury Vista have caused them a few problems over the past season or two, especially at New Spot Stadium. So I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
This is Northern Demons in Modbury Vista.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one as well. I think I would find it hard to pick a winner. This one's been played up at Perry, is it? Or is it down at
Nah.
Modbury?
Vista.
Is that Modbury? Sorry?
Yeah, it's at Modbury's ground.
At Modbury? Okay.
Boo.
I'm still going to go for a draw in this one. I find it too hard to pick a winner, I think, in this. Two very tightly or closely matched sides. Although, having said that, I do note that Modbury Vista haven't lost in about 5 weeks as well. But I still think it'll be a draw.
I'm going to go with a Modbury Vista win, purely based on what Connie's just said. The fact that they might be missing some players, they might be resting some players. It'll be a close game. Don't get me wrong. It's certainly be a close game, but I think Modbury Vista 2-1.
Next up, Seaford Rangers versus Eastern United at Seaford. I think Seaford will come out winners in this one, 2-0.
See, this is a tough one for me because Seaford obviously got the win last week. Eastern, they got a result last week, I think, going from memory. Did they get the win?
They got a
last
draw.
week? They got a draw.
Yeah, they drew with Modbury Vista.
Which is,
I'm getting applause every time I get something right.
yeah, yeah. Look, I'm going to go with a Seaford win, only a 2-1 win. I just think Eastern are doing a little bit better at the moment, but Seaford coming off a good win against Hawks last week, if they can move that forward, then they should have enough for Eastern. But yeah, Seaford 2-1.
I'm going to go with an Eastern United win. Seaford did get a win last week, but it was against the side that's sitting second bottom in the Adelaide Hills Hawks. So I think Eastern United. I'll pick Eastern United. This is a hard one. This could be. Can I pick 3? Can I pick a win, a draw, and a loss, or do I have to just pick one? Okay. No, Eastern United for me.
Yep. Seaford 2-1 for me.
Very, very interesting there. Last for State League 2, Mount Barker United versus Gawler Eagles at Mount Barker. I'll go for a Mount Barker United win.
Oh, why
Two-
Alessio's not here?
2-1, 2-1, and
Are you low on
second
friends,
goal
mate?
for
Are
the
you low on friends at the moment?
And I wasn't finished. Second goal for the season for Alessio Croce this weekend. Too.
Oh, wow, that's a huge call.
You've
You
just
definitely
jinxed
need
him.
some friends, don't you?
Oh,
He's going to get sent off this weekend.
Sent off. He'll score an own goal. They'll get sent off, and they'll lose 5-0. You've jinxed him. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with a Gawler Eagles win, but not a big one. I think both sides very leaky defences. Both have conceded 20 goals this year, 21 in Gawler's case. But Mount Barker scored 9, Gawler scored 11, so that neither team are prolific scorers either. But I think Gawler will have the edge on this one. I think they'll just have the edge. So I'll pick Gawler 1-0.
Given how unimpressed I was with Mount Barker's performance up in Puri, I'm going to let them off. It was a Sunday. Never played on a Sunday. I think half of them never even been to Puri before. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw, just because how poor Gawler have been this season. But I think, Mark, you saw that you said there was a couple of red cards in the game. I think Haris Vukic got sent off for Gawler last week as well. So they've lost an experienced defender there. So a 1-1 draw for me.
yeah, I'm not sure about this one. As we just said there, Gawler are down a player. Now, Barker are still going to be, the likelihood is they're going to be, well, they're definitely missing Clappers still. Taylor, I'm not sure, and I don't know if he's going to be able to recover in time. If Taylor's out, as well as obviously, they've also got, I can't remember who the other player is, and I apologise, from last week. And if he's still out, then I think Gawler will get the win. So I'm actually going to go Gawler with a 1-0 win. Sorry.
Exact same as me, Mark.
I thought you went a draw.
No, I went a 1-0 win for Gawler as well.
Ah, cool. Who went the draw? No one. Oh, you went the draw. That's right. Sorry. Seb's gone for Alessio. He's backing him in.
Yeah.
Hey,
No, that was-
Seb, just
that
before we
was
move
him.
on,
Yes.
just before we move on, because I know you and Mark want to know. So it's half time in Adelaide, and the Crows have scored 7.2 goals. I guess that means they've scored 7 goals and 2 behind. 7.2, and Port Adelaide have scored 3.7. So it's the Crows are leading at half time down there. Okay.
It's just quickly on that. I really like the fact that they've managed to both get points for trying. It's such that's what I love about the game is you can't quite kick straight, but you'll still get a point. You know, just that participation award. I love that.
It's like an encouragement award, isn't it? Like the
is.
certificates they give kids at school.
It is. I love it.
Next up is round 6 of the WSL, starting off with Western Strikers versus Campbelltown City. Campbelltown, of course, had that. I'd still say it's a big result against Adelaide City. Only a 1-0 loss. Probably could have won it in the Cup, so I'll back them against Western Strikers.
Yeah. Look, I can't see Campbelltown losing at this stage, so for me, it's a Campbelltown win. David's madly clicking away to try and get results and scorers, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't me because I was
I'll
on
go
mute, so I
Campbelltown.
think. But Campbelltown, yeah, I'll go Campbelltown too. So they're top of WSL, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Yes, I'll pick Campbelltown. Sorry.
Next up, Adelaide Jags versus Elizabeth Grove. Both were involved in Cup action during the week, both losing, but I think it's a tough one, this one. I'll go with a draw.
I'm going to go with the Grove win. I know they're both coming off losses in the Cup, but Grove are sitting second in the league. Jaguars are sitting third, so there's not much in between, only 2 points between them. But I'm going to go with a Grove win out there for Dorber and his women down, or should I say Upper Elizabeth.
Yeah, for you
also
it's
go
up,
for-
yeah.
I'll also go for Grove. Jaguars have scored an awful lot more goals than Grove, but I think Jaguars have played the bottom side, which is probably a reason
Yes,
for
they
that.
have.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got a massively superior goal difference. Elizabeth Grove have only got a goal difference of 6, whereas Jaggers have got a goal difference of 32. So, but yeah, I think that's because they've played the bottom side. So I'll go for Grove in this one as well.
Yeah, I think Grove will be too strong. They've got a quality squad, Grove. Not that I know too much about the State League women's competition, but yeah, Grove will win that one.
Next up, Fulham United versus South Adelaide. Ben Dale's 300th in that one, and I think he'll get the win to go with it, Mark.
Yeah, I'm going for I reckon a 3-0 win. I think South will have on his game. 3 seems to be the appropriate number, so I think we'll go with that one.
Yep, I'll also back South Adelaide to win this one. We did a game with Ben Dale last year, didn't we, Seb?
We
Service
did. It
FM?
was the Australia Cup. It was the Metro. They thrashed Bacala in the qualifying final.
That's
5-0.
right. Yeah, that's right. It was. I couldn't remember which game it was, but you are right. And we put Ben down in the pitch where it was freezing cold while we sat up in the salubrious surrounds of the media box. Sipping martinis and all of that sort of stuff.
Not then. I'm only 18 now, David. I was on the hot chocolates. Just to clarify.
I saw you in the corner like that. So South Adelaide for me, and well done, Ben, on reaching that milestone mark, 300 games as gaffer.
Yeah, I'm going to go South Adelaide as well, and just for Benny's sake, wonderful guy Benny is. Always had time for him, and he's always had time for me, which is great. So, yeah.
Cove FC versus Croydon FC. Cove for me on this one.
I was going to say, unfortunately, is it even a question? I mean, we know Croydon are struggling. Whoever comes up against them should, at this present moment in time, get the win. So you have to go with Cove. But I do feel for the Croydon women's setup. Hopefully things can turn around. But yeah, Cove.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be Cove as well. I reckon it'll be single figures, though, if that's any kind of consolation. Keep it going, Croydon ladies. Don't stop.
The game was single figures. Their last game was single figures.
Yeah,
against Fulham.
And Cove lost pretty heavily as well.
Yep.
He's going to go for Croydon here.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a draw.
David's upsets.
I like, yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm never going to live that one down.
No.
Final one for WSL action. Also, forgot to mention as well, Female Football Week this week, so plenty of events happening around the grounds this weekend. One big one in the Women's State League, Modbury Vista versus Modbury Jets, the Modbury Derby, an exciting one to look forward to. Great that it's happening in Female Football Week, as I said, events happening across this weekend, whether you're at Service FM or at a satellite event, at one of the other women's games being played around the grounds, please head down to a game. Be great to see people there. I'll be at Service FM. You'll hear my voice, unfortunately or fortunately, however you prefer it. But for this game, I think I'll be going with Vista on this one.
I'm going with Modbury.
Does that mean a draw?
No, I'm just Modbury. I'm going for Modbury. So whichever one wins, I get the result. That's the way I'm looking at it.
But if they draw, then you get nothing.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go the upset. I'm gonna go with Vista.
This is a hard one, isn't it? I might go for a draw in this one. I'll go for the upset, and I'm going to go for a draw in this one.
Connie.
I'm not on mute this time. I took myself off mute. I'm going to go for Modbury Vista, and this game is actually being played as the main game at Modbury this weekend because it's after the men's game. So they've got the 5 o'clock time slot. I did see today.
Very, very good. Absolutely. head down to all the games. On to State League 1. Fixtures coming up. Adelaide Victory versus Vipers. I'll go for Victory on this one. Oh, no, I'll go a draw.
Oh, geez, that was a quick change. Before we write anything
I know,
down,
thank
Deb.
you.
Jeez.
I know.
So which game are we on doing first? Victory and Vipers, you say?
Victory Vipers, yes.
I'm going with the Vipers win. They are in form at the moment. 2 wins on the trot.
That's why I changed.
Victory on the down. They're on a little bit of a downhill spiral at the moment. I'm not sure if that's due to coaching changes or anything like that, but I'm going to go with the Vipers 2-1. And the victory goal scorer will be Pasir John. He seems to be scoring all their goals at the moment. So, but they'll still lose. So Vipers 2-1.
I'm with you guys both. I'm going to go for a Vipers win. Not only have they won 2 in the trot, but those 2 wins have been against Playford and was it Fulham? I think it might have been Fulham.
Yeah.
So they are a side that isn't just on form, but isn't on form and proven it against the top or the sides up in the top half of the table. So a Vipers win for me, thanks. 3-0.
Yeah, I've gone a 2-2 draw, but given that Vipers have beaten Fulham and Playford in their past 2, I wouldn't be surprised to see a win. But I just feel as though Victory have been playing not too bad of late. Also, that obviously they've gone through a change of manager. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with my 2-2 draw. I'm not going to change it just because I heard someone else go for someone else.
Cumberland United versus Adelaide Ammonia Cobras. Draw in this one for me.
This is a tough one, and I'm actually going to go for a Cobras win away from home. They're in some really good form. Like I said earlier, they're in form. They're finding their rhythm. Cumberland are conceding, and they can concede late. They did that last week against Strikers. So I'm going to go for a Cobras and a 3-2 win.
I'm also going to go for a Cobras win here. I think it'll be quite a tight match, but Cobras to win for me.
Yeah, looks like we're all on the Cobra train. 2-1 for me.
Let's not start with the trains again.
Speaking of trains, Sturt Lions versus Salisbury United. I'm hopping back on the station on the Gawler line. Salisbury United with a 3-0 win.
I am actually going to go with a David upset here. I'm going to go for a draw.
No.
Only because I think Salisbury were so like they got up against Blue Eagles last week. They beat them, and I just don't know how Matt's going to go getting them G'd up for a game that would be considered a lesser game against Sturt, who are obviously a lot lower in the table. So I'm just wondering if Sturt can pinch something. So I'm going to go for a David Grant upset and go for a draw.
I'm going to ignore Mark's frivolity, and I'm going to go for It's hard to look past Salisbury, isn't it? I mean, I know they've
Hop on the train,
lost,
David.
Yeah, I know they've lost 3 of their last 4 and had a win last week, which may turn things around. But I think I'm going to go in the Salisbury Express.
Choo
Choo
choo.
choo. Choo choo.
Looks like we're all aboard because I'm going Salisbury 2-1.
We're all aboard. We're all on the train.
Station. You've left me at the station.
Mark, you've been left at Gawler. You've been left at Gawler. We've all caught on the Salisbury interchange. We've all gotten on there, left off at the city. Disappointing from you. Next up, Fulham United versus West Adelaide at West Beach, the home ground of both of these sides, funny enough. I'll go for Fulham United in this one.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, Seb. A Fulham win here. West Adelaide just still struggling a little bit. They're still missing a couple of players. The good thing is they have got players back, but it may take them a few weeks to get their full fitness and gel as a team again. because I know obviously the likes of Phelps and O'Donnell, Jackson O'Donnell, and his brother Cooper O'Donnell. So I know the goalkeeper's still out. They've signed the Para Hills goalkeeper from last year. Hasn't had the best of starts, unfortunately for him. But yeah, I think Fulham will bounce back after last week's win and get a 2-0 win.
I'm going to go for a West Adelaide win. I'm going to stick my head out of the window of the carriage as we approach the tunnel.
There's no train here. There's no train here.
I like the train stuff. Can't we just do it anyway? Look, Fulham did win 2 weeks ago but it was against Adelaide Victory, and it was a 3-2 win. It wasn't convincing. Then last week they've lost to Vipers, who, have hit a bit of form, but I like the odd upset, and if I've got to pick one in this competition, in this division, this would be the one I would pick. So I'm actually going to go for a West Adelaide win, but it won't be convincing. It'll only be 2-1.
Connie.
Are you awake?
Sorry,
still
I'm
there?
just looking. Yeah, I am. Fulham. What I was going to say. This is what I was going to say. I was looking at my notes and I'm going, no, hang on, wait, it was on my computer screen, not my paper. West Adelaide for me, George Katsidianis has scored 5 goals. And after that, they've only had 2 other players score 1 goal each. They just obviously don't have enough firepower, which is obviously why they're struggling at the moment. And I don't see them winning this week. Sorry, David. But Fulham will win 2-1, I think.
Making an announcement too in the off-season, we've got our new podcast, One Train at a Time, coming out, where we'll take the individual train lines around the city of Adelaide and rank them to be aired on Channel 7 sometime soon.
George, best old team.
I can see now the Seaford line's the best one at the moment.
Second to last game for the weekend, Adelaide Blue Eagles versus Western Strikers. I'll go for ABE on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you, Seb. Adelaide Blue Eagles back at home. I think they have too much for Western Strikers, and I think they're going to come out firing. I think they're going to really take the loss last week to heart, and unfortunately take it out on the Strikers. So I'm going Blue Eagles with a 3-1 win.
Yep, I'm also going to go with that. I think Blue Eagles would have had themselves a little bit of a shake-up after last week, and they'll come back all fired up and ready to dance. So I think it'll be an Adelaide Blue Eagles victory over the Western Strikers. Connie, you're taking this very seriously, aren't you?
I know Azuria. I know that Blue Eagles are sitting top, well, equal top, but like I said earlier, Strikers aren't actually playing that bad, and they're only just losing or not getting results. So I'm going to go with a draw, 2-2. Isn't that what the train does?
2-2.
David would like that one.
Last one for State League 1. Playford City versus West Torrens Burkalla, heading towards the top of the table. I'll go for Playford at home.
Yeah, being at home for Playford, I'm going to go for a Playford win. Burks have been outstanding this year, but on the grass at Playford, that can change things a little bit for the away team. So, especially Burks, who are constantly playing on the artificial. So, I'm going to go for a Playford win.
Where's this game being played, did you say?
At Playford.
Okay. On grass at Playford. I fancy Burkalla, you know. Connie, you go next. I'm just having a ponder.
This is my tip for having the most goals. So I'm going to tip Playford at home 3-2.
Will that enough time, David?
I think. Okay, so I think the fact that I try to pick upsets has let me down in the grand scheme of things in terms of my position in this tipping ladder, because I think I'm bottom, right?
I think so.
And I think that happens because I don't play it safe. I like to take a wee bit of a punt. But having said that, where's the fun in picking the favourites?
Are you going for
I'm
a
actually,
upset or an upset?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go for an upset in this one. I'm going to go for a Burculla win over Playford.
That's not an upset. Your upsets are draws. We know that. It's always a draw.
No, okay. I'm not going to go for an upset, but I am going to go for a Burculla win. How's that?
Very fair enough. I guess there's a final look at all your
It's
fixtures. Adelaide victory.
barely an upset, isn't it? Because you got second versus third. You can't be an
Yeah,
upset.
exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, sort of, I guess.
It would almost be the upset in this one.
There's a final look at all the fixtures for State League 1, which can all be watched on YouTube on FSA Leagues. And we move on from that league to the WMPL, of course, as we said, Female Football Week. This is a lovely graphic. I wonder who made this at Football South Australia. It's absolutely phenomenal.
So it certainly wasn't you then, Seb, was it?
No, absolutely not. Starting with Salisbury Inter versus West Torrens Burculla at Jeps Cross as a part of the celebrations Female Football Week. I'll go with Inter on this one.
On ladder position, the upset is Salisbury Inter. However, on form, Salisbury Inter, like I said earlier, really starting to find their rhythm. I'm actually with you, Seb. I'm going to go an Inter win.
Yep, I am actually going to agree with you for the very same reasons. So I did a commentary on Salisbury Inter when they managed to turn things around. That was when they had their 2-0 win against Adelaide Uni. And then the following week, they had a 2-0 win over Sturt. Now, Sturt aren't the strongest side, and neither are Adelaide Uni. But, in fact, they're both in second bottom and bottom places on the ladder. But I think Salisbury Inter showed, for me, in the game that I saw, that they're more than capable of finishing in the upper half of this table. So I'm going to go for a Salisbury Inter win in this one as well.
Yeah. Salisbury
Your
Inter.
turn, Con.
I was trying
I'm in
to, you know, like-
suspense. I'm in
Nah, I think
suspense.
Salisbury Inter.
He's too busy watching the AFL, I reckon.
Yeah, I've got it off.
David,
to
do we
the
have
side here.
updates? David, do we have updates?
I've got an update for you. Hang on a second.
Assuming the Crows are in front, they've kicked more points.
So yeah, I've got an update for you. The Crows they've got 8.2 goals, and Port Adelaide have got 3.7 goals. And apparently, one of the goals wasn't ruled off for offside because they don't even have offside in this game.
I love the fact that you refer to it as 0.2 goals. When it's,
Yeah.
and I know nothing about the game, but I know that it's normally just referred to as 8 goals 2, or 8 goals and 2 behind, or whatever it is.
No,
I
I prefer point something. I like it.
Yeah. I do
think it's
too.
awesome.
Makes
Does that
it
mean
sound smarter.
If they get to 0.6, does that then revert to a goal?
No, they've got to get right up to 0.9.
Because that's how they get a goal. Like normally it's 6 points a goal. So would that then, once they get to 0.6, they then go an extra goal?
Yeah, I'm going to make it. No, they have to go up to 0.9, and they're currently playing in Q3.
Oh, my
Okay.
my old man just dobbed me in the comment there.
Yeah, that's just seen that now as well. Just want to know how you guys got Connie in here tonight when there's a Crows game on.
It's just the
Do you
power.
want to know why? I'll tell you why. It's because I'm a one-eyed crow, and when I get nervous, sometimes I can't watch the games, so I have to take my mind off of it with something else. And they're winning so far, so let's keep going, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Connie.
On to the next one, another game at Surface FM Stadium on that Friday night. Adelaide Comets versus Football SA NTC, two of the top teams from last season playing it out there. I'll go for Comets on this one.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, Seb, again. Comets in some good form. Sitting second, NTC, bit of hit and miss at the moment, so I'll go with the Comets win as well.
Comments for me too. No further comment, Your Honour.
Yep, Adelaide Comets for me. Is Chrissy Panagaris playing yet? I reckon I asked a few weeks ago.
I
Is she
think
injured
so.
Or is she playing?
I think she might be back this week.
Yeah, Comets I think will be too strong this week.
Next up is Adelaide City versus West Adelaide, the derby. Very exciting one in prospect. Two teams who seem to be almost at the top of their game at this point in the season at Adelaide City Park. I actually covered this game last year at Adelaide City, where I think West Adelaide came out winners there. Rachel Quigley scored maybe 1 or 2 goals that night. I'll go with West Adelaide away from home for this one.
Yeah, I don't want to follow Seb, but I think West Adelaide, they've had a bit of a slip in the fact that they've drawn and lost one. Drawn one, lost one. But before that, they were on form and scoring a lot of goals. I think after the cup round, they've got their shooting boots on again. I think they'll be too much for Adelaide City, and West Adelaide will get the result.
I would agree with you. I think West Adelaide will win this one too. Both of them coming off league losses. Their last game that West Adelaide had, they lost 3-0 to Comets, who sit second just below them. But Adelaide City's loss was to Metro, who are lower half of the table. I'm going to go for a West Adelaide win in this one.
Yeah, I think it's hard to go past West Adelaide. I think they got too much quality and they can do damage on their day. So West Adelaide to win that one.
Interestingly enough, sorry, Seb, I was just going to add, interestingly enough, the two top scorers in that competition will feature. So Rachel Quigley's got 7 goals for West Adelaide, and Daphne McLeod has got 5 goals for Adelaide City. So the two top scorers in the women's NPL will be playing off against each other. Well, not directly, because one will be up that end of the park and the other will be down that end of the park. But you know what I mean.
Thank you, Dave, for clarifying. Appreciate it. Adelaide Uni versus Metro United. Tough one. Two teams near the bottom of the table. I'll go with Uni.
Yeah, this is quite a tough one. They're both coming off good results in the cup. I actually am going to go Uni as well. I think this might be their chance to turn their season around, carrying last week's form into the game. And Jason Trimble will get his first win this weekend. So I'm going to go with U7 and go for Uni.
I'm going to go with a Metro win. They are coming off their last league game was a win over Adelaide City, and they'll be buoyed by that. And I think that they'll win this one against a Uni side who are still bottom. And I don't think they've won a game yet, Uni, have they?
They haven't.
No, they haven't won a game yet. So I'm going to go for Metro United.
Yeah, I think Metro have hit some form the last few weeks. Last time I was on the show, I was the only one to tip them to win, so I'm going to tip them again.
Last up for the WMPL, Sturt Lions versus Flinders United. Bit of a derby, I think you'd have to say, for this one. I'll go for Flinders on this one.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Seb, again. I think we've done the same all the way through, Seb, but Flinders, for me, their never say die attitude has been a real feature for them this year, and their captain stepping up and playing up front, scoring a lot of their goals as well, has been a big, seeing them upturn in form, so I'm going to go with Flinders as well.
Flinders for me too. That's it.
Just the one-liner. I'll go with the Flinders Uni one-liner as well. The Flinders United, sorry. Not Flinders Uni. Bloody hell. I saw the U and I thought.
All done for the WMPL now. Finally onto the men's MPL in South Australia. There is your look at the fixtures. We're starting off with Campbelltown City and Adelaide Croatia Raiders at Steve Woodcock Sports Centre. I'll go for Croatia on this one.
Someone else want to go so I can have a think about this one?
Yeah, I was trying to have a think about this one too. So this is Croatia Raiders and Campbelltown, the Friday night game at Campbelltown. Well, there's been another goal in the AFL game. Let me have a look. So Adelaide have now got 9.2 goals.
Which one?
Adelaide have,
They're both Adelaide.
And the Port Adelaide team have now got 3.9 goals and they're still playing quarter three. Sorry, they're still playing Q3. Apparently, someone has soccered a goal.
I love that.
Someone has soccered a goal. Okay, so back to the real stuff. Campbelltown City and Adelaide Croatia Raiders. So Campbelltown City, they'll be a little bit heartbroken about last week's game. Mostly because of my camera work, but also because of the last minute goal they conceded. They'll be looking to bounce back from that. And Campbelltown City, Raiders are a form side too. I'm just thinking out loud. Raiders they're a form side too, but they did drop points against Parahills Knights last week, didn't they? That was the game that Seb and I were at. I will go for. I might actually go for a Raiders win in this one. Campbelltown a little bit unpredictable. Win, draw, win, loss, draw. Whereas Raiders are win, 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 draw. So for me, it'll be a Raiders win.
Do you want to go, Connie?
Mark hasn't made his mind up.
I've got my tip, but I was going to try and pull a stat up, but I can't be bothered now. I'm just going to go with my tip. And my tip is Campbelltown to win 2-1. And I'll go with my half bit of information is that I think Mark Marino has scored in all but one game since he's been back, and he'll score again this weekend because Maury's still suspended.
I'm going to go for a draw, 2-2 draw. I can't pick a winner with those two. Both coming off draws. I think they're both going to. I think it's just going to be all evens and 2-2.
Very interesting. That's the only Friday game for this weekend. Standalone football for the men on that Friday night, going on to Saturday. 5 games on that day, starting at the Paddocks. Parahills versus Adelaide Olympic. I'll go for a 2-2 draw in this one.
I'll jump in on this one. I'm going to go with an Olympic win. I'm going to say they're going to carry their winning form from the Metro game into this week. It won't be as high scoring, but I think Olympic will get the win. 2 of my former clubs playing off against each other. That's almost every week.
Almost every week.
I'm going to go with Olympic win over Parahills.
Yeah. Sorry, Connie.
No, you go, David. You go. You're on screen.
I think I agree with you. Parahills Knights obviously got absolutely hammered 2 games ago against Metro Stars. They lost that one 5-0. From memory, Croatia Raiders for me were the better of the sides at the weekend, but that finished in a draw. But Olympic, there's Olympic coming off that win last week against Metro Stars, and then a draw before that against Croydon. That was another game that I saw. So I'm going to go for, I can't remember what Mark said now, but I'm going to go for an Olympic win in this one.
I'm going to agree with you, Seb. 2-2 draw. Both teams concede and can score. I'm going to go 2-2.
Next up at Smith Partners Stadium, another 3 p.m. kickoff. Modbury Jets versus FK Beergrad. I think Modbury Jets will come out 3-1 winners here.
Oh,
Do you disagree,
wow.
Mark?
I don't know. That's the problem. Beergrad last week were. I thought they were very worthy of the draw. If not, I thought they had some absolute standout performances last week with Nyankuru and Trimboli were excellent. But Modbury just seem to get results. They seem to be able to turn over the results. They've got multiple goal scorers. And I don't think the McKay brothers have had a big influence in their last couple of games as what they're used to. And if they start to find form again, then watch out. So, and here's the other thing. I know FK Beergrad, they get up for the big games. When you look at some of the results they've had, they got up against Comets and Adelaide City, play against Parahills, and they struggled a little bit. Campbelltown, they got up for it and managed to get the draw. This is another big game. Modbury, obviously, top of the table. So, I would love to go a draw, but I think Modbury might just have too much and get the 2-1 win. That was a long explanation. Apologies, but I had to talk that one through. But it just shows you the fact that I said any team can beat any team on their day in this league. And like I said, FK Belgrade, they're not poor. They haven't been poor. They're just. I just think Modbury have been grinding out results when they need to, and I think they might do that again this week.
I'll go for another one of these upsets that seem to let me down so often in this tipping competition.
So you're going for the draw?
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go for a Beograd win. Now, I'm basing that on the fact that I agree with you, Mark, and the point you made there that Beograd lift their game when they're playing against teams higher up in the ladder or of arguably better standard, of whatever the word is that I should use to appropriately describe that. And the other thing I would note as well is that Beograd scored twice against the Campbelltown City defence that had only up to that point conceded 7 goals. And Modbury Jets' defensive record is very similar to Campbelltown's. I think they've only conceded 8 or 9 so far this year. So I'm going to go for an upset here. I'm going to go for a Beograd win, even though I know it'll probably let me down. But when you're bottom of the tipping table, you have to start taking gambles, don't you? So that's my NPL gamble for the week.
Yeah, I'm totally with Modbury. They haven't lost since round 1. They haven't lost in round 1, which they actually lost to Para Hills. So, like you said, Mark, given that the McCabe's haven't had a huge impact, it's been Shimizi that's been doing some of the damage of late. If they can get involved, you suspect that they can be, pretty much stay where they are at the top of the ladder if the two McCabe boys start to fire.
Next up, 5 p.m. kickoff, Adelaide United versus Adelaide Comets. My game for the weekend, well, we'll have a 3-person commentary team joined by 2 Adelaide United people, I should say. One is a player, one is not. I think it might be pretty easy to dissect from that one, but we'll make people guess. I'll go for... You know, don't you?
No. No one's told me.
I thought I said...
Look at this. Now that he's at the FSA, seriously, he just forgets about the guys that helped him get there. He just forgets about all of us. Gee whiz.
Who do you think? Who do you think?
I'll say one player and one former player.
No, 1 player and 1 Adelaide United person.
Oh,
employee.
So surely Matt Mays is joining you on the comms again.
Indeed, he will be on sideline.
I love Matt Mays on the comms. That's awesome. And I'm going to go with maybe Stefan Mork.
Don't know. Have to wait and see. I'll go for Adelaide Comets on this one, though. Even though I'm with 2 Adelaide United people.
Let's just hope they didn't listen to this then. Look, I'm with... Oh. Yeah, look, I don't know what players are going to come back to the United squad now that their
Good question.
season has finished last night. I'm not sure what players are allowed to send back and whatnot, but you would think that the likes of Barnett will play, DeCooley will probably be involved, Johnny Yule will probably be involved, Barnett will probably be involved, Ethan Cox might be involved, but considering he started, they may not put him back in the side. So would likely mean they'll have young number 60. What's his name, Seb? The young goalkeeper.
Oscar Page.
Oscar Page. I said I can remember what number he wears, but I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, so that obviously sways things as well, because nothing against Page, but there's a reason why Cox is starting and things like that. Like, I think Cox is a fantastic goalkeeper. So I don't see him coming back, but it's still a pretty decent side that Adelaide United will put out. And I'm actually, after all that, I'm going to go for a David result. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I'm going to go for an Adelaide United win. Like Mark says, they're really hard to pick, aren't they? You don't know who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. But the fact that and I don't know the rules either on eligibility now that the A-League season is passed by, but I'm assuming that a lot of those players will now be available to play for Adelaide United. They've won 3 league games on the trot. That young striker what's the name? Tattoo.
Amlani Tattoo.
Yeah, he's obviously in form just now as well. Did you say he's only 15, Mark?
Yeah, I believe he's only 15.
Yeah, so that's an immense prospect, isn't it? Might even go along and watch this. Not sure what the family are doing and if I'm allowed to or not, but it's a game that intrigues me. But I'm going to go for an Adelaide United win in this one.
Absolutely. I was just showing there the squad that was used last night for their game. Johnny Yule and Austin Ayubi came into the squad, of course. A few players like you might see, as you said, a Johnny Yule, an Ayubi possibly to come in.
Madana.
Yaya to come in, Madana, even Luki Ivanovic.
Yep. Duzel are all possible because, so David, with the players for the NPL, they're allowed to name a squad at the start of the season. Of X amount of players. I think it's a number of 30 players they can name in the NPL squad, and they can go up and down between the two. So the likes of Javi Lopez or Isaias won't be named in the NPL squad, so they can't come down. So that's why a lot of the youngsters. So they've effectively, I think it's 30 players. So the last time I heard that was gone back a few years was basically a squad of 30 players, and they could use any of those 30 players throughout the season in the NPL, even if they play. Someone like Ethan Alligatch, who's played the last 5 games in the A-League, he could effectively still come back down and play NPL like he did last year and played in the final. So effectively, they can use any of that 30 squad they name at the start of the season.
Right. Interesting.
There's my fact for the day that I think is mostly correct.
Stick to this show. You'll get facts that are mostly correct.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think even if some of those players do play, they won't have too much of an impact. Comet's still a strong side, and 1-1 for me.
Imagine we get one more Nestoria and Kunda NPL cameo.
One
last game.
Too happy with
that. Metro versus South Adelaide, also with the 5 p.m. kickoff at TK Shutter Reserve. I'll go for a Metro 3-1 win.
Sorry, you guys jump in on that one. I'm just looking for something else I need to mention.
Okay, I will go. I agree with you. I think Metro Stars will bounce back from the shock of a 4-3 loss away at Adelaide Olympic. South Adelaide still sitting it down at that bottom spot. 5 points. They've only had a win and 2 draws to get those 5 points. So I think Metro Stars will be too strong, and I think they'll win. Is that enough time for you, Mark? Or do we go to Connie? Connie.
Yeah, I agree. I think Metro will bounce back 3-1 this week. I don't think they'll be too impressed. Given the game that I did with Seb a few weeks ago when they were up 5-1 and Danny Greystone still wanted more out of his players, I could not imagine what training was like this week, given that they lost 4-3 to Olympic. So they should, and I think they will, bounce back this week.
Do you need more time, Mark?
No, it's all good. I couldn't find what I was looking for, which would be a bit later in the show anyway, so I might still be able to find it. Metro South Adelaide at Metro Stars ground. You'd have to go Metro, bouncing back after their loss, surprise loss to Olympic last week. South still scoring some goals, but not enough, and they're probably leaking too many. And against what could be a very attacking outfit from Metro Stars, you'd have to think Metro. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 to Metro. I still think South and the likes of a JJ or Alex or a Tyrese can score, but I just think Metro will have too much in the locker.
Last game for the men's top flight, Croydon versus Adelaide City. I don't think any of us would have imagined us saying this is a bottom of the table clash looking at it right now, and I think Croydon will come up on top at Regency Park.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Seb. I think Croydon are going to get the win. I think Adelaide City will struggle to contain Andre Carl. He didn't score last week. I think it was young Bartovsky. I think I got that right. Scored both goals last week.
did,
And I actually said that he should have had one of his goals, especially the first one, in the goal of the week, just because it was someone other than Andre Carl for Croydon, because they're relying on him so much. But I think...
Yeah, I don't know who's picking those goals of the week. They're doing a pretty poor job of that.
But no, there were fantastic goals in this week's goal of the week, to be fair. But I just think if Bartovsky, now that he's got two, if he can get on a bit of a run and take some of that pressure off Carl, then that's such a good sign for Croydon. But like I said, I really struggle at the moment to see where Adelaide City are going to score their goals from. And I also struggle to see how they're going to stop other teams at the moment. They just seem to be leaking goals, struggling to score. So I'm actually going to go with Croydon. And I'm going to go with a 2-1 win.
I agree with you, Mark. I'm going to go for a Croydon win as well. Bartkowski scored 2 goals last week in their match with South Adelaide. And Andre Carl is equal top scorer in the NPL with Ren Nagamatsu. He has 8 goals. I think that firepower is just going to be a little bit too much for Adelaide City. So I'm going to go for a Croydon win, but I'm actually probably going to push it out to 3-0 because I think those 2 strikers are just on too good a form just now for it to go any other way. Croydon.
Alrighty. I'm going to have to go for Adelaide City simply because if they lose this game and hypothetically Adelaide Olympic win and given Croydon are in 9th position, they will then have a game and a half gap from relegation to 10th if they lose Adelaide City, which I just can't see it. Like they say, I'll believe it when I see it, but I can't see it, so I'm going to tip Adelaide City 2-1.
Well then, that rounds out our predictions for the week. Before we head off, boys, any final remarks for this week?
I have a couple. I'll jump in. So the one thing I was looking for was the new... I don't think Adelaide Hills have announced it, but I have heard that they've appointed Christian Leonardo as the new coach at Adelaide Hills. So I'll have to keep an eye out on that if that is true. But I don't know or haven't heard of Christian Leonardo. So we'll have to obviously see how that all goes. But if it is, all the best and hope he can do well at Adelaide Hills. And the other thing is the regular, what I will do each week, shout out to TJ Gloves, TJ Goalkeeping, Tassie Breeden there, proud sponsor of our Goalkeeper of the Year award, which will receive I don't know, we'll see at the end of the year. But so
they'll get something.
They'll get something, yes. So TJ Gloves, proud sponsors of our Goalkeeper of the Year award. We also still looking for sponsors for our show. So we are looking for a sponsor to sponsor our One Game at a Time podcast. And also
one train at a time.
One train at a time. And also a sponsor for our Team of the Year, which we go through each round and we all sort of watch a game. Well, not sort of, but we all watch a game and pick our 3-2-1s for each game. And then we will have a best and fairest at the end of the season. So that's my shout out. So yeah, if anyone wants to jump on board with our show, please reach out to me or the show, either or. And yeah, jump on board. It'd be great to have it.
Anything else from you, David or Con?
I've got some... Oh, and you go, Connie.
You go first.
No, you go first. He's gone.
Yeah, he went first. I am in the process of, again, as you know, Seb, of getting a live stream for the Cup round in a couple of weeks' time. So just in case I'm not on this show before then, we're looking at doing the Northern Demons game, which has now been reversed to Apex, which is Olympics home game, due to light issues in Port Pirie to host that game. So I am working around the clock a little bit to get a couple of sponsors on board to get that going, so that everyone in Port Pirie can see the game in a few weeks' time. And if you can't make it to the game, obviously you can tune in. So I'm 90% there. So I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to be done.
That's great work, Connie. It's good to see. I love it.
David, final words. Make them good.
Okay, so I actually have some inside knowledge, and I can let you know, but don't tell anybody else, that Leonardo has been appointed as the coach of the Hills Hawks. I believe he's come from Blue Eagles, or he was a reserve coach at Blue Eagles, but I understand that he is indeed got that appointment at the Hawks. And then I was going to give you an update on the real football tonight. Adelaide have now got 9.4 goals. And
Which one? Which
Adelaide.
one?
Not Port Adelaide. Adelaide. So Adelaide. What do you mean? Which football?
No, which Adelaide?
Adelaide.
Adelaide Football Club, the Crows.
There's only one Adelaide, guys. The Adelaide Crows.
So the Crows have got 9.4 points now, and in brackets they've also given them 58. And then Port Adelaide have got 4.11 goals, and in brackets they've also got 35 as well. They're at the end of Q3 and they're going to go into Q4 very soon. And I'm going to have to put my jumper on because we're in this top all night tonight in the middle of winter. I'm absolutely freezing now. But look, I can show off my tattoo when I've got that's an anchor. I can show off my tattoo when I'm wearing these AFL shirts.
I've seen too much of your skin tonight, David, for my liking. I'm used to you wearing long pants and long shirts. Way too much skin for my liking.
That's
Yes.
That's me signing out now. That's my final word.
Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for listening and watching. Of course, head down to games, especially Female Football Week is on. Make sure you head down to all the events that are happening around the grounds, around those games. Plenty of stuff happening. I know there's a lot of stuff happening at Surface FM Stadium this Friday in particular, so do get down to any game that you can. Other than that, boys, thank you for joining me. It was a lovely time as always, and we'll see you all next week.
There's all next week. Thank you.
See ya.
See you later.